Hello, I'm Shirley and welcome to Kids Corner. I'm here with my teddy bear Sir Winston, and Sir Winston has gathered up all his friends around the house because they'd like to hear a story. And the story that I'm going to tell them today is a story about a family and animals who are all cooped up together for a long time. And it's a story from the Bible. It happened a long time ago, after the world was created, after Adam and Eve, a time when people knew the difference between good and evil, and they chose evil. And that didn't make God very happy. It made him sad, and it made him angry. And God started to think, I'm going to have to start over. But at this time, there was a man who pleased God. He walked with God. He talked with God through prayer. And he did things that God would like him to do. And one day, God said to this man whose name was Noah, I would like you to build me an ark.
Bah!
Yes, Lammy? What is it?
Ooh, what's an ark?
Oh, an ark is a boat, a big boat. And when God spoke to Noah, he said, I want you to build me an ark that's so many cubits long and so many cubits wide and so many cubits high.
Cubits? What are cubits?
Well, you know, that's a good question, Lammy, because I had the same question. And a cubit is about this long. But, you know, I just couldn't imagine how big, 150 cubits would be. So I'm thinking about it in terms of the Halifax-Dartmouth ferry. It was about 6 ferries long, 2.5 ferries wide, and about 1 ferry high, if you counted the antenna. And it had 3 decks, a lower one, a middle one, and an upper one. And it had 1 door. The decks had many rooms because God told Noah, gather up pairs of every kind of animal in the world.
What about food?
Well, you know, Lammy, that's a very good question. God also told Noah to pack food, lots and lots of food.
That's good because I get hungry.
Yes, I know you do. So many of you get hungry, don't you? So, Noah gathered up some wood and he started to build. Built it in his backyard, and I bet his neighbors thought this was really strange. What was Noah doing building a boat in his backyard? But once he finished the boat, then, Lammy, he started to put all sorts of food inside. And then he gathered up pairs of animals, and he had them go up a ramp and into the ark. And I bet it took a little while, because some of you guys just always don't want to go in the same direction that I'd like you to go in. And then once all the animals were on board, Noah, Noah's wife, their 3 boys and their wives went into the boat and they closed the door. And not too long after that, it started to rain. And it rained and it rained. And it started off that there were small puddles and big puddles and ponds, and it was getting deeper and deeper, and the ark started to float, and it was getting deeper over buildings and over trees and over mountains.
Boys, I bet they were glad they were on the boat then.
Yes, Lammy, I bet they were really glad they were on the boat. But it kept raining, and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And then it stopped raining. But you know what? The trouble with raining that long is it takes a long time for all that water to go away. So about 5 months after it started, one night, plunk, the ark hit something and it stopped moving. It hit a mountain in Ararat. But it took another month or so before they could see the tops of the other mountains and then the tops of big hills. And Noah waited about another month and he opened up the window and he sent out a raven, and the raven flew around and around, but he couldn't find anything to land on. So then Noah waited some more time, and then he opened up the window and he sent out a dove. And the dove went flying around and around, but the dove couldn't find anywhere to land. So the dove came back to Noah, and Noah took him inside and shut the window and waited a bit more. So, and after a while, Noah opened up the window again, and out went the dove, and he went around and around. But this time, when he flew back to Noah, he came back with an olive leaf. And that made Noah happy, because Noah thought, the water has gone down so much that the plants are growing again. But Noah waited a little while longer. And then he opened up the window. And out went the dove. But the dove didn't come back. So Noah knew that things were dry enough that the dove was happy that he could find a place to land. Noah waited another week or two because he wanted to be sure the ground was really dry before they could all leave. And then he thought, I think it should be, and he opened up the door, and he and his family and all the animals came off the ark.
But Shirley, I'm scared.
Oh.
What if there's another flood?
Oh, don't be scared, Lammy. God made a promise to Noah that he would never flood the entire world again. And as a reminder of that promise, God put a rainbow in the sky. So every time you see a rainbow, you remember that promise God made, that he's not going to flood the whole earth again.
Oh, rainbows are pretty.
Yes, they are, Lammy. They're very pretty. Oh, are you saying something else that I have a hard time hearing? Oh, you're wondering about all this time together. Well, are some of you having a little hard time being nice to one another? Are you starting to think that things are getting perhaps a little crowded? You know, I bet Noah felt the same. And do you know what Noah and his family would do? They would talk to God through prayer. And I think they would talk to one another if they were feeling sad about being there or scared. And I bet they also had to apologize to one another if they weren't always kind. So, if you're feeling sad or scared, why don't you do what Noah and his family do? Talk to God and talk to one another. And now, shall we have a little prayer together? If you could repeat after me.
Okay.
Loving God,
Loving God,
thank you for being with us.
thank you for being with us, Ma.
Help us not to be scared.
Help us not to be scared.
Thank you for the people
Thank you for the people
who look after us
who look after us
and others.
and others.
Help us to be kind.
Help us to be kind, Ma.
Thank you for loving us.
Thank you for loving us.
Amen.
Amen.
See you later at Kids Corner.